Welcome everyone, glad you're here. If you're ready for it, go ahead, come up into a standing position, feet about hip distance, start to shift the weight a little bit back and forth so your body knows that you're about to get ready to use it, and then just begin that spin. And what's nice about this is if you do it frequently enough, you can feel how your body changes throughout the day. That you might start off stiff. If you sit still for a particular period of time, you'll get more stiff, but if you continue actions and movement throughout the day, you'll find that you stay a little looser. Certainly in comparing how we felt maybe yesterday or the day before, we might notice some changes in the way we feel right now. And that is great. So now let's take those arms and begin swinging in this direction. And this will give us a feel more in the shoulder, collarbone, maybe the neck area. Obviously the arms too. So just feel what's happening when you move like this. And then we're going to transfer it into just balance work. And so we're letting the weight sink back toward the heels, but we keep our knees in a slight bend. We go toward the toes and we're going to lose our balance. So we wake up the balance center. Let's do it with 1 foot forward so that's similar enough to some of the poses in yoga that when we're out of balance in that way, we will know how to coordinate back to an upright stance. Great. And let's work with details of those ankles. Let the weight go to the inner edge. Let the weight go to the outer edge. So we're feeling the stretch. And although we'll hold our feet in something less than a perfect arch, it's good to go in and out so that when we come to that absolute activated arch, we can really feel the difference. Balance across the ball of the foot, heels pressed outward. There's your active arch. And then lift those toes. Let's work. Let's pull fingers back. Let's work the hands. Squeeze down the toes, grip down the fingers to the top of the palm. And then over and over again. So we create action. We move in ways that try and bring a state of steady balance to our body. Spread out the fingers and the toes, bring them together, narrow and tight. So by balance, I'm not just talking about our ability to, stay upright, but how a joint is supposed to be centered with all the forces that move against it. Big toes towards each other. And if things are perfect, that joint is residing in the center of everything and wearing the least possible. Big toe down, heels pushed out, small toes up and down. So that's our goal. Make ourselves wear the least possible. Small toes down, big toe up and down. But it takes a lot of work in strengthening and lengthening our muscle structures. Okay, the biggest toe is down, the littlest toe should be down, and the 3 center toes up and down. So connection, mind to body is the key, the start of it all. Get that active arch, those heels pushed outward and back up your hips. Lengthen your spine, lifting the ribs away from the pelvis, front and back. Let the shoulders adjust a little back and sink a little toward the feet. And then the head should just be lifting up an extension of that spine. When we breathe, let's inhale and lift up the arms. We'll go out and up. And then when we exhale, let's just take the arms down in a different pattern. But then we're going to inhale up and exhale out. And this is cooperation, body parts working together. To the side, inhale, and exhale. And to the other side. But let's do it all again. And just keep that deep breath. But now the arms will rise. And we want to lift up in the center of our spine, the side of the ribs, and then add the further stretch of the arm. Reach upward, inhaling. Exhale, let that release, and we'll do it the other way. The center lifts, the side lifts, the arm stretches up. Inhale. Exhale, release again. Center, side, and arm. Inhale. And exhale. Center, side, arm. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to interlock the fingers, press the palms out, stretch those hands, And we're going to lift up. And as we lift, we're going to make it a spiraling arch from the legs to the chest, to the arms, up, lift, inhale. Exhale, release out that spiral, and then uplift, spiral the other way, inhale. Exhale, release that. And then we're going to uplift. Now, uplift the chest, uplift the arms, maintain that length so that the arch that you create will not jam your back. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, let those arms swing free. But lift up the chest, squeeze together the shoulder blades, reaching backward. Exhale. And now deliberately widen shoulder blades. Wrap the shoulders forward. Deep inhale, shoulder blades spreading. Reach, squeeze back, exhale. Forward shoulder blades, inhale. And then once again, reach and squeeze back and exhale. And we're just going to let that release apart. And we're going to stand so that we're now about shoulder or mat distance wide. And we start the spin, feeling how immediately all of this very short period of time, we've already loosened up a bit. But then we're going to isolate. We're going to get a deeper layer. So we're going to uplift the chest, and the shoulders will turn, but the hips will not. And we're breathing as we do it, feeling that action. And we're going to uplift, and we're going to turn the hips without moving the shoulders. And that's great. Now, as we uplift, lower down the shoulders. Push the feet and the knees outward. Press your hands into the side of the legs so when you tilt, you're not going to collapse. Lift the ribs, lift the arms, stretch up that one side. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, lift up and out of that stretch. And then we do it again. Press out the feet, engage the core, the chest up, the shoulders down, pushing into the leg. So when we tilt, there's no collapse. Lift the ribs, lift the arms, stretch on up, and inhale. Exhale, lift yourself up and come out. Now take a wide stance, but keep the arch of the foot set. And lift the spine and bend the knees and bring the hands to the end of the knee. And reach across your body. Make a stretch and breathe, feeling it breathing. Releasing that, we're going to stretch the other way. Lots of things involved. Keep breathing. In fact, when we go across this time, inhale so that you have to spread your ribs up, open wide. Exhaling that, reach across and inhale, spread open the ribs. Exhaling. Now we're going to come to center. We're going to shift our weight over to one side. Now you can stay up high. Inner thighs are target. You can sink down lower. You're going to know the feeling of stretch that you want to feel. Just breathe deeply. And then we're going to go side two. You can stay up high. You can go lower. You can take the hands all the way down to the floor. Whatever seems right. Breathing deep. And we'll do that again. Stretch that inner thigh. It's always going to be willing to stretch, slightly tight. And then the other way. That's good. Now coming to center, I just rest my elbows on the knees and lift my hips until I start to feel some stretch in the back leg. Not too much though. I could remain like this or let the arms hang, let the head hang until the weight of the upper body is stretching that spine. Breathing deeply, relaxing into the stretch. And now one hand's going to go down and the other shoulder's going to lift. We're going to press out the feet. The chest moves away from the hips to add to this twist. We'll reach our arm upward. Let's take a deep breath. Exhale. We're going to go the other way. Feet press out. Twisting, stretching. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to come to center and put those elbows on the knee. Now reach one shoulder in toward that midline. You're going to get a different stretch there. And then reach the other shoulder into that midline for that stretch. Come back to center, put your hands on your knees, and notice how your shoulders are up near your ears. And I want it to sort of stay that way, but I'm going to back my hands up, bending my elbows, coming a little more upright. And the elbows are bent, hands are resting in that crease of the leg and the pelvis. I'm going to straighten one arm the amount that helps me lengthen that spine. The elbow doesn't have to go completely straight unless it just does. Take a deep breath. Exhale, let the elbow bend the other side. So we're just straightening to a comfortable amount, lengthening the spine with the straightness of the arm. Deep inhale. Exhale, elbow bends now both sides. And when we press both, we lengthen, we traction that spine more fully. Take a deep inhale. And then exhaling, bend the elbows and the knees and come up. And so we're starting our sun salutes with a long spine. And so we'll be going through a series of things. The first two will be less complicated. The next will be more complicated, more thorough warm-up. So let's begin at the front of a mat. We've got room to step backward, and we're going to stand those feet hip distance wide. Inhale, lift your arms up. And on the exhale, grab the elbows and bend the knees, lift the hips, and hang the head and shoulders down. And there's a bend of the knees, the head and the arms are hanging. We're just letting gravity do its work, stretching our spine. Placing down the hands, we step right foot back. It's a lunge. We lift the right hip, the heel can reach back, the chest and shoulders pull forward. We hold the arch of the left foot as we lighten the pressure on the hands or take the step to make it more challenging with one or both arms forward. Deep inhale. Exhaling, hands flattening out. We step back in a plank and chest goes forward, the hips and heels go back. Inhale. Exhaling, softly lower the knees and then pull the hips back until you can stretch the arms outward. And then start to sway from side to side. Now the sway could just be very slight. Or we could sway so much that we're lifting one shoulder more above the other side. And the action could be in the shoulders, or if we come a little forward, we can create this sway that's going into the hips. The knees could come closer together. And we could really tilt from side to side. Or we could make a pivoting action with the feet to gain even greater action. But at center again, we flatten the hands. Now we're going to bring our chin, our face toward that space between the hands. You don't have to come all the way down. And then come forward and into upward dog, shoulders forward of the hips. Press the hands and top foot evenly, lift the collarbones, inhale. And then exhale, bring that chin, that chest toward the space of the hands and move back and into downward dog, head between the arms. Knees are bent. We're going to pull the shoulders toward hips, pressing hands evenly. We move hands and elbows toward each other. We widen the space between the shoulder blades, and we can paddle those heels down and up, increasing the stretch we're feeling in the calf, in the hamstring, the back of the leg. And now, right foot forward, lunge position. And we lift the left hip, balance ball the foot, heel goes back, chest and shoulders go forward, right foot holds the arch. Let pressure the hands or arms forward and inhale. And then exhale, stepping forward, feet hip distance. Press down into those heels, bend the knees, and inhale up from the squat. And exhale. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Just let the elbows come against the shin so that you can move shoulders toward hips, releasing tension from the neck. Pressing into the legs to move the ribs toward the knees. Push the feet and the knees outward. Breathe into the upper back. And then exhale, placing hands left foot steps back, lunge, balancing ball of the foot, lift the hip. Heel reaches back, chest and shoulders forward. Right foot holds the arch, light pressure to hands or arms forward. Inhale. Exhale back into plank, hand pressure even. Chest forward and hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhale, softly lower the knees and then the hips stretch back. And once again, it could be a side to side, lightly done, or more extreme. The forward position allows the hips to sway closer to the knees, and the more sway you could create or pivot action of the feet. Resting the top foot down, coming forward, the chin, the chest toward that space of the hands, and then forward to upward dog. Palms and top of the foot pressure even. Collarbones lift, inhale. And then exhaling, chest coming down, moving back into downward dog, palm pressure even, knees bent, head between the arms. Shoulders move toward hips, hands and elbows pressed toward each other. Widen the space of the shoulder blades, and again, paddling those heels down and up, hips lifted, breathing deeply. And now it's left foot stepping forward, lunge, balancing the ball of the right foot, lifting the hip, heel reaching back, chest and shoulders pulling forward. Left foot's holding its arch, light pressure to the hands and the arms forward, inhale. And then exhale, step forward. Press heels, bend knees, inhale up. And exhale, and now we're going to be in a series of more complicated action. Inhale. Exhale, grab the elbows, lift the hips, hang the head and shoulders down, and then get the hands next to the feet. We're stepping right foot, but not too far back. We're going to balance on the ball of the foot, bending the knee and lifting the chest all the way, which is, of course, going to mess with our balance, but we'll find it. We'll refine that balance. We'll tighten the seat muscles. We'll tuck under the tailbone a bit. We'll pull in our core, lengthening the spine and keeping the weight on the left heel so that knee doesn't move forward. We're going to sink that right knee slowly down. It doesn't matter how low you go. Keep it comfortable. Inhaling. And then again, sinking down. Use your breath. And one more time. Now this time as we come up, we're going to lower the right heel down and adjust the feet so they point the direction the knees are pointing. Weight goes on the heels. We start to tighten our seat muscles. We start to lengthen the spine. We lift up through the arms, and we're going to make a backward arch. Inhale. And on exhale, press into those heels and sink into the depth of squat that's comfortable. Press those heels, come up, arch, inhale. Exhale, coming down into that squat. Press the heels, come up, arch, inhale. Exhale, come down into the squat. And then coming up and turning toward the front of the mat, a full lunge position with the right leg behind us. And sink down the right knee so that you're stretching forward. Push back the right knee, tighten the seat muscle. Slowly bend the right knee. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, right leg goes straight and then we move backward. Now keep the pelvis in the center to go. Pull the left foot back. Get a stretch in the back of the leg. Deep inhale. And then exhale, move forward. Right knee pushing backwards. Seat muscle tightens. Bend that knee. Inhale. Exhale, right leg goes straight. Move back. Left foot pulls backward. Inhale. Exhale, move forward. Right knee pushes back. Seat muscle tight. Bend that knee. Inhale. Exhale, right leg goes straight, move back, pull back the left foot, inhale. And then on exhale, move the left leg back, stretch those arms forward, breathing deeply. Now we're going to reach the left arm beneath us, resting the left ear, the left shoulder on the ground. But the hips pull back to keep the weight away from that. And we're going to slowly lift that right shoulder up above the left, twisting, breathe in, and then exhale. Coming back to center, arms stretching forward, deep breath. Now coming into tabletop. Level shoulders and pelvis, nice long spine. We're going to crunch by bringing the right knee and the left elbow in underneath us, nice crunch position. And then we're going to bird dog, left arm forward and right knee back, inhale. And then exhale to the tabletop. And then once again, right knee, left elbow in our crunch. And our tabletop, inhale. Exhale. Actually, that was bird dog, not tabletop. This is tabletop. And then one more time, we go into the crunch. And then the bird dog, inhale. And on this exhale, we move into plank position. Chest forward and hips back. We're going to lower the knees slowly down. Pulling in the elbows, we're going to hover the chest down low, chaturanga. And then our upward dog. And we're going to hover again, chaturanga. And then let the body relax down, elbows rest beside us. Pelvis pushing down firmly, pull forward. And then arch the chest up into low cobra, inhale. Exhale, looking down. Begin to bring the ribs toward the navel. Tuck under the tailbone. Lift the center of the spine. Inhale. Crunch. And then exhale, come down. Pull forward. Arch. Inhale. Cobra. And then exhaling, begin to crunch. Inhale while you're in it. Exhale, come down. Pull forward. Arch. Inhale. And then exhale, beginning the crunch. Inhale. And then on this exhale, just move the hips back with the arms stretching forward. And I want you to just sort of shift the right side longer, the left side longer, shifting back and forth, breathing deeply. Press the palms evenly, press the feet evenly, lift into downward dog, head between the arms and knees bent. Shoulders go toward hips, hands and elbows toward each other, wide shoulder blades. Shift that weight to the left foot and stretch the right leg up. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, right foot's coming down, shifting weight to the right. Left leg's going to stretch up. Inhale. Exhaling, left foot's coming down. Now step right foot forward, full lunge position. And our side angle, bring the left heel down, lift the left shoulder, bring the right elbow up on the knee. Now position both hips in the center of the mat and move the right knee toward the right edge, engaging that outer right hip. Lengthen the right side and then stretch that left wrist away from the ankle. Inhale. Exhaling, left arm goes behind our back and the right arm's going to reach forward. Inhale. Exhaling, the right leg begins to straighten. Keep that left shoulder above the right. Chest toward the front of the mat and also toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, right knee bends, right arm forward. Now pull the chest back until you're upright. Right shoulder in front of the left. Seat muscles tight, right knee to the right arm forward, left shoulder back. Inhale. Exhale, right arm points up, and we're going to lift up and arch our way back. Seat muscles tight, right knee to the right. Inhale. Exhale, chest upright, left arm reaching upward, a warrior one. Seat muscles tighten, right knee to the right, long spine. Inhale. Exhale, right hand to the hip, left hand crosses over. And then we pull the right shoulder behind the left, and then we can lower to a satisfying point with our twisting extended side angle. Inhale. Exhale into a lunge and step forward. Press those heels, bend those knees. Inhale up. And exhale. One more of those rounds. Inhale up. Exhale forward. Lift the hips, head and arms hanging, breathing deep. Place the hands. Left foot steps part way back. Stay on the ball of the foot and bend the knee. Lift that chest all the way up. Find that balance. Tighten seat muscles, pull in the core, tuck into the tailbone, lengthen the spine, and the weight's on the right heel so the knee doesn't go forward as we bring the left knee comfortably low. Exhaling. And inhale back up. And a second time. Up. And once more. As we come up, we lower the left heel, we adjust so that the feet and the knees point in the same direction. Get the weight on the heels, the seat muscle tight. We lift the chest, we arch back. Inhale. And then exhale. Keep that weight on the heels. Come down into whatever level of squat you want. Press the heels, come back up again. Arch, inhale. Exhale, squat. Coming up, arch, inhale. Exhale, squat. And then coming up, turning to the front of the mat, lunge position with the left leg behind us. Bring that left knee down, stretching forward. Push back the left knee, tighten the seat muscle, bend that left knee. Inhale. Exhale, and the left leg goes straight. We're going to back the body up, pelvis stays at the center, stretch, pulling back the front of the right foot. Inhale. Exhale, going forward, left knee pushing back, seat muscle tight, bend the knee. Inhale. Exhale, left leg goes straight, move backward, right front of the foot pulls back. Inhale. Exhale, go forward again. Left knee pushing back, seat muscle tight, bend the knee. Inhale. Exhaling, left leg goes straight, move backward, right front of the foot pulls back. Inhale. And then exhale, move the right leg back, stretch those arms forward, breathing deeply. And we're going to slide the right shoulder under us, the head turning to the right, the weight back at the heels, and lifting the left shoulder above the right shoulder into a twist. Inhale. Exhaling, coming on back to center, arms reaching forward, breathing deeply. Coming into a tabletop, nice and level, shoulders and hips, long spine. It'll be a crunch with the left knee and the right elbow broad underneath us. Inhale. Exhale, bird dog. Right arm forward, left knee back. Inhale. Exhaling, tabletop. The crunch again. Elbow and knee. Inhale. And then bird dog. Another inhale. Exhale, tabletop. And one more time into that crunch. And the bird dog. And this time we're going to move into that full plank position. Chest forward, hips back, lower the knees, protect those shoulders. Elbows pulling in, we're going to lower the hovering chaturanga and the upward dog and the hovering chaturanga. And then just let the body flatten. The forearms rest beside us, push down the pelvis, pull that chest forward and arch up, inhale. Exhale, the crunch, the ribs toward the navel, tuck into the tailbone, lift the center of the spine and inhale. And exhale, come down. Pull forward and arch and inhale. And then the exhale begins the crunch. Just lift the spine, the inhale. Exhale, come down. Pull forward, arch, inhale. And then the exhale, the crunch. Lift the spine and inhale. And then exhale, and we move back into the child's pose. Then we shift arms, stretching forward one side and then the other side, just shifting those shoulders, breathing deep. Centering the hands, press the palms evenly. Let's lift into downward dog with the knees bent, head between the arms. And we're going to pull the shoulders toward hips, hands and elbows toward each other, wide shouldered legs. Shifting to the right, lift that left leg, stretch it up. Inhale. Exhaling, left leg comes down, shifting to the left, right leg comes up. Inhale. Exhaling, right foot comes down. Now left leg forward, full lunge. And side angle, right heel down, right shoulder up, left elbow up and on the knee. Bring those hips into the middle of the mat, left knee moving toward the left edge, lengthening the left side, and then taking that right arm and stretch it away from the ankle. Inhale. Exhaling, the right arm's going to go behind the back, and the left arm's going to reach forward. Inhale. Exhaling, the left leg begins to straighten. The right shoulder stays above the left. And we reach the chest toward the front of the mat, but also toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhaling, left knee bends, left arm reaches forward. We pull the chest back upright. Hips in the center, left knee to left, right shoulder behind the left, reaching left arm forward, right shoulder back. Inhale. Exhaling, left arm lifts up. We arch up and back. Hips in the center, left knee to the left. Inhale. Exhale, upright, right arm reaches up, the warrior one, seat muscles tight, left knee to left, long spine, inhale. Exhaling, left hand to the right hand crosses over, pull the left shoulder behind the right, and then decide how low you want to sink down. Take a deep breath. Exhale, lunge, and step forward. Press down, heels, bend knees, inhale, lift up, and exhale. Good. So we're warmed, but we're going to lengthen that spine while we can. Take those feet nice and wide, keep the arch, and shrug those shoulders up. Bend the knees a little. Place the heel of the palm and the crease leg tilting forward. Your right side, you'll straighten first and take a deep breath, inhaling. Exhale, elbow bends. The left side will straighten. We'll take a deep breath. Exhale, elbow bends, and both sides will press. We'll lengthen that spine. Take a breath. Exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees, and come up. Now, special things occur when the body does get warm, and in this kind of weather, with it being warm, starting to get warm wherever you might be in this hemisphere, you're going to feel that the body, okay, it's warmed up, and what do we do with that aside from sweat? Well, we can safely lengthen muscles as long as we're keeping comfortable. So one of the spaces and places I'd like to lengthen is the back of the leg, while at the same time doing something about the inner and the outer hip. So we're gonna resume this wide leg position. With this very warm like this, let's lengthen the spine, lifting the rib cage front and back away from the hips and tightening up those thighs. And as we maintain this length, we're just gonna fold forward, and there's gonna be a limit. It's when the back of the leg begins to notice it. And realistically, we're not expecting all that much more than maybe if we could get to the chest parallel to the floor. That would represent an average amount of hamstring length, about 90 degrees. If the chest goes a little lower, that would represent maybe maximum hamstring length. So we're not going to necessarily tilt unless we alter the contour of our back, which is not necessary. We just keep reaching the front of the body long as soon as we feel the back of the legs in a stretch. But we're going to change this a little bit with the bend of our knees and the elbows placed on the knees, which immediately alters it. It allows us to use the arms to press into those legs to to project that chest away from the hips and thus lengthen the spine. But we can also press down with our elbows and widen the space between the shoulder blades. So I want your chest moving away from the hips and the pressure of the elbows widening that spot between the shoulder blades. Now, keep that happening, but lift the hips and then get the head to hang down. Now, that's a special thing, so you should be able to wobble the head like a, bobblehead doll there, sort of let it wobble a little bit, and then just sort of swing a little side to side, too. It might be difficult to let the head go. I don't want you to feel unpleasant. But while we've got the hamstring and the stretch, we're using this weight of our head to create a little bit of a release to the structure of the neck. Now, we're going to sink the hips slowly down, beginning to look at your mat and beginning to look forward. Now, keep the knees pressing outward. Keep the pressure on the elbows so the space between the shoulder blades widens. Your goal is to sink the hips down about the height of the knee and then to look forward, sort of at the screen here, knees pressing outward, and maybe begin to feel there's something going on in our legs. Breathing in deeply, and then we're just simply going to lift the hips back up again, widening the space between the shoulder blades, lengthening the spine, and letting the head come back down to that little wobble position. Wobble back and forth. You can tuck the chin in and out, and just release tension from the neck. At the same time, you're creating a mild hamstring stretch. Breathing deeply. And once more, we're going to start to sink the hips down, looking down at the floor, and then gradually looking forward. Knees separating away, feet pressing away from each other, hips coming down to maybe the height of the knee. Looking forward, broad shoulder blades, and on one side you reach the arm forward, and on the other side you reach the arm forward, and you decide, do you want to sink those hips down further? Do you want to bring them back up? It's not going to last as long as we think it is. Take a deep breath. Exhale, elbows to the knees, and we're going to lift the hips again, and the head and the arms are hanging, and you didn't even know that this was a resting position, the one we're in right now. We're widening apart the shoulder blades. We're letting the head sort of wobble a little bit there. Breathing deep. Don't worry, there's only one more of these. We're going to sink the hips down now. Looking gradually forward, lifting that chin, long spine, wide shoulder blades, and one arm at a time reaching forward. Again, we just decided we want to sink down more. Could we do that or maybe not? But this time, we're going to place our hands to the knees and come only part way up. And then we're going to pull that belly in right next to the spine and press those heels. And we'll be able to come the rest of the way up. And that belly pulling in is going to keep the blood pressure from changing so radically. And it's like, oh, there we go. We've opened up the hips a little bit. We've done some things for the neck, for the spine. But now what I'd like us to do is to challenge the core. So I've got sort of a multifaceted action I want us to do. So we're going to do a little bit of what would be the preparation for a traditional yoga pose known as crow, but we're not going to stress it too much. What I want you to come into is a tabletop position. And the nice thing about this is that we're going to have a variety of actions. We're going to go towards something, but not necessarily into something. So what I'm going to have you do, and you can watch me just the first time as you want, I'm going to turn my left hand in, actually turn my right hand in slightly because that's going to be toward the camera. So my elbow, when it bends, goes outward. I'm going to lower my left elbow down under my shoulder. So that position alone is allowing me to sort of position until I can get some nice, solid, even pressure on the right hand. And I'm going to be leaning more weight onto the left side, so the wrist on the left is more comfortable. And as I shift the weight to the left side, I'm going to bring my right knee, and I'm just going to see if I can bring it to the back of my arm. And then I'm going to come back down. And you might have said, whoa, whoa, and that was okay. Or maybe you're able to lift and then just rest that right there. Okay. And then we're going to come back, and if you, at any time you like, the stretch point would be the child pose, stretching backward. But if things are going well, we're going to try this on side two. So now I turn the left hand, so when I bend the elbow, it would be outward, make it a little platform. I'm going to lower the right elbow down under the shoulder instead of the palm being there. This allows me to lean to the right. I'm going to get a little more repositioning of the left hand until it feels just right, not compressed. And then leaning to the right, I'm just going to take the left leg and I'm just going to bring it toward the back of that arm, and then I'm going to come out of that, and I can come back upright, and if I need to, I can stretch. And so yes, we could be putting weight on a wrist that would make that troublesome. And if you were saying, this is troublesome to my wrist and I don't want to continue to do it. You could do something similar just by lowering both elbows down, and instead of creating a platform that we might use for the crow pose, you could shift the weight and just sort of bring your knee in the direction of the arm. You won't touch it there, but oh my goodness, it's going to be some core work. Okay, so there's no reason if you say, oh, my wrist won't do it, it's okay. There's modifications. But what were we doing again? Let's see. Let me take you through it one more time in case you need to see it. So I'm going to be turning my right hand in so the elbow will project outward. There's my little platform right here. I'm going to be lowering my left elbow down. I'm keeping this nice long space. And I'm going to bring my right knee here toward that. And if I wanted more, I could straighten the left leg and to be in sort of this weird downward dog kind of awkward position. But remembering that awkward is a sign of new things happening. So we're not going to equate awkward to something bad. Awkward is just awkward. And I'm going to do side 2 again. So now I'm going to have this right hand, left hand turning. I can't even remember which side. The right elbow is going to come down. And I'm keeping this nice long spine. I'm going to lean to the right, take the left leg to the back of the leg. And if I'm comfortably there, I have the option of straightening that right leg and then coming back down and into that. And always you could stretch forward and just take all pressure off the wrist. Now, as I said, the goal is to create something that's going to challenge the arms, challenge the structure of our core to create that action. But that kind of work could progress into the crow pose. But the crow pose is also one of balance and one of trust of oneself. And we're not going to go through all the details of that today. It was enough just to create something similar to it. And we may play with this in another class later on. So there we go. We've got some action. But I want to continue with some buildup of shoulder strength. So we had the arms forward. Now I'm wanting to create, instead of a bend of the arm, I want to create a straightening of the arm. So I'm going to sit with my legs in front of me. And we're going to be progressing in the direction that would be called a reverse plank. Now, so the legs are forward of me, and usually if my legs are forward and my body wants to collapse, so putting my hands behind me would be the natural condition. But for what I intend, I'm going to do 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to bend and have my feet on the floor so my knees are bent, and I'm going to take my hands, not just right next to my seat muscle, I'm going to move them a full hand distance further back, so I have to lean backward. Now, I'm deliberately putting my hands so that the fingers point toward the body. And at this moment, my legs are supporting me. I can literally lift my hands up. So there's really, nothing having to be troublesome to those wrist areas if I just keep my body weight forward. I'm on the sitting bones, not on my tailbone. But I've got this line of ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist, all one line. And I'm just going to simply bend my elbows in the direction of the floor and straighten them. And that could be, there's a lot going on in your core. So, I can go backward and forward without my arms being used, but we are putting the arms into the action because we might use them later. So I want you to know, if you have, let's scoot a little forward, if you have some wrist issues, you can probably get to this point, and you may even be able to rest the elbows all the way down. And so I want you to check and see, can those elbows come all the way down? And the answer might be, heck no. If I'm here, I can't get back up again. But often the reason we can't get back up again is our hands are too close to us. So if they're further out and the elbows come down, it's more achievable for everything in your body to help you get back up again. So people say, it's my legs, it's my core, not just my arms. Yes, that's true. But it is definitely a stretch in the shoulders, and it's a confrontation So I sink back a little bit, I straighten the arms, I point those toes, and then I lift and I lean my head backward. Now that leaning of the head back, we've been prepping for that with things we did. You could instead tuck the chin rather sharply if leaning the head back was too much for you today. If you want to try that one more time, so the hand space way back there, the elbows can bend, we straighten, and then pressing those heels and those palms, we come up into the reverse plank position, and just come off those wrists. Come off those wrists and sit for a moment. You might want to sit with your hips up on something. We're going to stretch the shoulders a little bit. We warm them up. In our class today, we've been using all of our body parts. Let's take those wrists and let's roll them. Now they did some work for us. And if you want, you can sort of press from one hand to the other, press a little bit. You can squeeze the wrist area coming down the arms and take some pressure off of that. You can jiggle and wiggle the hands, and that will help. But let's get up into that neck and shoulder area too that did some work for us. So we're going to roll the shoulder, and then the other side. Big swirling circles. And we're going to go the other way. All right, now that arm position created some need for stretch. You may have felt a lot going on back of your arm right here between the elbow and the shoulders, the tricep muscle area. So I'm going to have us take the arm up and then back to touch our own shoulder, and then lift that elbow. You might feel the stretch right there, and then just reach up until it's not only a stretch potentially right here, but it's all the way into the side of the waist. So just stretch on up there. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, let that release. We're going to do the other side. The hand comes toward its own shoulder. The elbow stays in line. And we lift up and we reach, not just the arm, that stretch is probably there, but into the rib cage. We stretch on up, take a breath. And we exhale and we let that go. We're going to do it again, the same. So hand to shoulder is side one. Elbow goes up, stretch on up there, take a breath. Exhale, let it go. Elbow to shoulder, lift the elbow, stretch on up there, inhale. Exhale, let it go. Now shoulders are complicated. The muscles vie together. Some do the same thing, some do opposite things, but it's dependent on the angle, which muscle might be stretching, which fibers might be stretching. So this time as I take my arm up, I don't go to its own shoulder, I go across toward that other shoulder, and I'm going to create this lift, this reach, as if to move across the midline of my body. So I'm going to reach up and stretch up, and then I'm going to just shift my head into a comfortable stretch. Take a breath, and then let it go. And now the other side. So the hand's going to not to its own shoulder, but to cross toward the other side as close as I can get. And I'm going to lift up the elbow. I'm going to reach across my midline, different stretch, and I can just sort of tilt the head, get a little bit of stretch there too. Take a deep breath. And exhale, we come up and out of that. All right, now we're gonna reach backward. I'll turn so you can see a little bit of what I'm doing. I'm gonna take the arm, I'm gonna pull it back, I'm gonna stretch it back, and I've got the arm lined up behind my shoulder, and I'm just reaching for this something. I'm not gonna make it hard or harsh. It's gonna stretch me here, and I'm just gonna pull my head slightly open, right there, slightly stretching. We'll just take a deep breath. And then exhale and we release that. Now we're going to do the other side. So the elbow is pulling back and the arm is straight back behind my shoulder. And then I just make a reach like there's something just out of grasp, and I lean the head just a little bit. We take a breath. Exhale, we release that. All right, again. So the first side, the arm is back there. We make that reach. We tilt that head. We stretch. Inhale. We exhale. The arms coming back there. We make that reach. We stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Now, I'm going to start it off. It's going to look very similar. I'm going to take the arm back. But as I straighten it, I'm going to reach not on its own side, but toward the other side. So in line with this other hip, a little farther out there. And I'm going to make that stretch. And then I'm going to tilt my ear toward the opposite shoulder. So this whole side is nicely opened up. Take a breath. So definitely there's a bit of a twist here. We bend, we come up. All right, the other side, so the arm is coming back, but as I straighten it, I'm reaching toward this opposite side. I stretch it back there, and then I tilt the head, leaning the ear toward the opposite shoulder. Take a breath. And then we exhale and release that. I'm just going to roll those shoulders again. One way. And roll them the other way. And that's good. Okay. Let's come to our back now. And we're going to do a nice, it's actually an interesting takeoff on a twisting triangle pose. It's a reclined version of a twisting triangle pose. So we're going to be on our back. And to start it off, just to get things comfortable, because already it's like, oh, it's great. You know, the weight's off the neck. We just walk the shoulders away from the head, and that releases tension. So we're going to bring both knees into the chest and let the back flatten. That's an important part of this. So my back's going to be flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the right knee in to help keep the back flat, and I'm going to stretch the left leg outward. And I'm going to focus on opening up the front of the left hip, which I do by reaching the ankle away and pressing the back of the left knee in the direction of the floor. So it's that reach idea, as if someone's pulling. And my back is trying to remain flat so that the muscle that attaches in that lower back region and comes across the front of the hip, the main hip flexor, it's getting a stretch. And this side's pulling in, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to put my hands in the back of the leg and open up this leg slightly until there's an awareness of the tightness in the back of this leg. So my back is flat and the leg is reaching, and this leg is just comfortably straight. Breathing deeply. Now, I'm going to create a change. I'm going to bend this knee so there's no tension. I'm going to press my shoulders downward into the ground. And I'm going to start to, still this leg reaching, start to bring this right leg across the body. Now I'm going to bend the knee as much as I need in order to allow me to lift the right hip above the left hip as I tilt my pelvis toward the left. I'm pressing the shoulders down and keeping my right shoulder against the floor as I reach the left leg away. I'm going to turn my head in the direction of the right side so the neck is rotated one way as the pelvis is rotated the other. And I'm going to think length. That left leg reaches away. The right knee can be more bent or less bent, whatever is a comfortable stretch, because you're going to feel it either in the outer hip or the pelvis or the low back or even the right shoulder. Take a nice deep inhale breath. Exhaling, return the head to center, bend the right knee and bring it back to center. And then bring both knees back into the chest and just hang out there a moment. And notice the difference in feeling between your right side and your left side. Maybe even between the neck and the shoulder, right and left. Okay. Now what we're going to do, the back's flattened. We're going to straighten the right leg, holding on to the left. And we're going to reach that right ankle and press the back of the right knee down. Now, here's the thing. Most people already are in a twist, okay? And so I want you to know that this part of it is just as important. This is the setup, but this is also the elongation of a major muscle in our body. So don't skip out on this part just because you want the twist. Press down the back of the knee, reach the leg away, flatten that back, and then we're going to open up this left leg a little bit, just to the point of becoming aware that the leg is slightly tight. Back is flattening, right leg is reaching, back of the right leg is pressing downward. We're breathing. That's good. Now we're going to bend the left knee a little. We're going to take the arms out. We're going to press down on the shoulders to keep them trapped. And then we're going to bring the left leg across the body, and I will bend the leg enough so I can lift the left hip above the right. And our shoulders are pressing. The right leg is reaching. We're going to turn our head toward the left. And then that left knee can be bent more or straightened more. There's a variety of positions relative to the chest that are fine. But don't forget, you want length. You're going to reach that right leg and press those shoulders. You're going to make a very, very comfortable amount of stretch. And let's take a deep inhale. And then exhale, return the head to center, bend the left leg, and come on back to center. Just bend the knees, and there we are. Okay. Now, the flatness of the back, pulling the belly with the back flat. See if you can sort of make a hollowness to the feeling of. You're not talking about the shape over the front. We love that, but what we're doing is we're just trying to sort of let everything move in the direction of the floor. The back flattening, but also the front of the belly. That's a good exhaling action. I'm bringing my heels relatively close to the body because if it's comfortable enough, I'm going to turn this tilt of my pelvis into a lift of my hips. And I'm just sort of doing that gradually as I press down the heels and tighten the seat muscles and just make this core of hollowness. I'm rolling a little further. I'm lifting the back of my pelvis a little bit. I'm sinking more weight onto the lumbar spine, and then I'm coming back down,
phasing with the breath. The inhale, the back could even arch for contrast. And then on the exhale, I'm pulling and sinking and pressing and reaching and just rolling. And maybe I'll roll up into the ribs a little bit. You can decide how far you go. And then I'm going to come rolling back down. Now, eventually I'll need 2 breaths. So here's my inhale, and then on my exhale, I'm rolling. And if I lift up high enough, I run out of exhale. So at the top of it, I inhale. And then I exhale, and my belly goes in, and I roll down. And I'm trying to be very distinctive in my rolling bridge, about an inch of the body lifting at a time. I'm only lifting to a height that's comfortable. I'm trying to get just an inch, rolling up or rolling down. And I use that as my exhale. So there's going to be an inhale portion, and then the rolling exhale and lifting exhale and knees reaching exhale. And I've got to breathe in, and then the rolling of the spine back down again. That could be a very nice release action for the body. Then this time as I'm down, I'm just going to widen out feet and take my arms. I'm going to bring them more alongside the head. I'm going to shift and let the pelvis lift a little. I've gone to the right, so the left side of my pelvis is lifting a little bit because my feet were so wide, my knees were so wide. And this is producing a really nice stretch. I'm coming back up, I'm going toward the left, and the right side of the pelvis comes up. And that stretch is from my knee through the front of my pelvis, all the way through the side and up into my arm. And it's a great stretch, and the arms are in a position that they're seldom. And if you wanted to reach those arms away and stretch those knees away, you could create more action, more intensity. Or you just leave it soft with everything just sort of reaching a very just beginning point and not trying to get extreme. That's one of the things we always have to do. We always have to portion out the amount of action, because it could go right to the top or it could just be soft. Do we want a soft action? Do we want a more intense action? So this is very soft rocking, sort of like, a soft rocking of a boat kind of feel, gentling down the activity of the body. And I'm going to come to center. I'm going to bring my arms out of that because I want a chance just to align. And so I'm starting with the shoulders away from the head, and I want to get a broadness between the shoulder blades. I'm bringing the knees in so I can practice that. I want broadness between the shoulder blades. I'm going to stretch a leg away, and that's going to pull this space of shoulder blade away from the spine, and then we'll release, and then the other leg is going to pull that space. So just a simple thing. I'm just hanging on and moving the leg away, and that's what's creating this nice release here, and then the other side. Okay, then I put the feet down in the arms. I'm going to raise up the shoulder blades and then rest the arms beside me. So the elbows are down and the palms will face the ceiling. Then I'm going to pivot the pelvis back and forth a little bit and flatten and arch the back until that feels just so. And I'm just going to work the legs outward until they're straight, turning in and out the hips so that they feel relaxed. Maybe readjusting a little shimmy of the pelvis until everything feels just so. And just take a breath. And as you exhale, see if your body will go limp. And chances are it won't. There's a little bit of tension still left in us. So I want us to tighten into the hands and the feet and bring contractions into the forearms, the lower legs, then to the upper arms, the upper legs. And just still you're tensing the seat muscles and the belly. We're holding these contractions. We're in the sides of the chest, neck, and the face. And then when we've got everything as contracted as we can, we'll take a deliberate, deep inhale. Hold that contraction everywhere you can. And when you're ready to exhale, also let go. Just let go. Open the palms. Let the feet relax outward. Rock the head a little bit. Ease the shoulder tension until just check yourself out. What remains to let go? You might have to do this a couple of times. The tensing and the relaxing. You may have to isolate one stubborn area until you're just as centered. And that's where I want you to be, right here, centered with yourself. Use your breath. Inhale. Float the belly upward, the ribs outward, the back toward the floor. Fill up from the bottom to the top of the lungs, and then exhale. And let that wash, soften you a bit. So that every moment, every breath is just this wash effect. It's ridding you of the tension that might be pent up within you. Asking your body to inflate, to fill up with that oxygen, that energy component, that necessary component to create cellular energy, that breath. And over again, we keep going through deep inhales and slow exhales again and again, so that we're in that moment. Because that might be where you want to remain for a while, just in that moment. Or at any time, of course, you can begin your stretch process that brings you up. And just know that you've done a wonderful thing. You've helped yourself immensely. And it's been great. You've done great. And thank you for being here.